$4 gasoline, the election, the war in Iraq, terrorism, the cost of goods, the declining value of the dollar, unemployment, the credit crunch, foreclosures. It's no wonder we're facing a recession. And if all that weren't overwhelming enough, now you have to look at your company's bottom line and not only figure out how you're going to survive, but figure out how you're going to thrive. Selling in a down economy is hard. The pressure on your sales team is tremendous as the entire company is focused on your performance. Your customers, in an effort to reduce their costs, are more willing than ever to look at your competition. And your competition, they're reducing all of their prices in this panicked effort to keep their doors open. A down economy can completely change the landscape of your industry. A few weeks ago, I met with Scott, the owner of a local mortgage company. We were having a cup of coffee and he was telling me the woes of the lending industry. He told me that major companies were going out of business every single day. Last year, there was 500,000 lending agents in the United States. This year, there's 175,000 left. A 65% decline. Scott paused. He looked up at me and he had this mischievous grin on his face. And he told me that his company just had their best month ever. So what does Scott know that nobody else knows? How is Scott successful in an industry that's been completely decimated? Scott knew rule number one of selling in a down economy. Don't panic. Generally, more competitors are going to leave the marketplace than customers. So even though there had been a 65% drop in his competition, there hadn't been a 65% decline in demand for home loans. And with competition leaving the marketplace, there is opportunity everywhere. Even if your competition isn't leaving the marketplace, they're cutting back on their sales forces. They're reducing their marketing budgets. They're cutting back on products and services that you directly compete with. Even then, their sales forces are completely terrified. They're convinced they can't sell and they're using the economy as their excuse. The companies that succeed are the ones that don't panic. They realize that this is their opportunity to get better. They know that if they can sell now, that when the economy starts to pick back up and competition starts re-entering the marketplace, they're going to be far ahead of everybody else. So Scott didn't panic. But what else did he do to make sure that he didn't become part of that 65%? He followed step 2 of selling in a down economy. He surveyed his customer base. This is time for you to start talking to your customers and finding out exactly why they buy from you. This is your opportunity to learn about your company through your customers' eyes. They'll tell you why they love you, and they'll tell you where you need to get better. This is time to find out which customers are thrilled with you and which ones aren't. In a down economy, your competition is going to start focusing on your best customers. And if you give your customer the slightest reason to leave you, your competition is going to do whatever it takes to get that business. Fortunately, you can counter this by using the information you gathered in your surveys. You can shore up any weaknesses that you're having with your product or with your service. Now, your thrilled customers, this is where the fun is. They're going to tell you all the things that they love about your business. They're going to help you to define what you do best in your marketplace, in your industry. And that's exactly what you're going to focus on selling in a down economy. If your customers love your service, then that's exactly what you're going to focus on. If your customers tell you that the quality of your product is better than anybody else's in your industry or your marketplace, that's exactly what you're going to focus on selling. Now that Scott was able to easily identify his thrilled customers, he could move on to step 3 of selling in a down economy. Scott started to build his business through referral sales. This is a time when salespeople really need to focus on finding the prospects with the highest likelihood of closing, rather than taking a broad approach that might work well in an up economy or in a good economy. And the prospects that have the highest likelihood of closing are referral sales. Unfortunately, a lot of sales reps never even ask for referrals. And the ones that do, typically it's been months since they've asked for referrals. So this is the best possible time to use those thrilled customers to start going back and building up that referral base. This is a time for you to figure out, for your customers, this is a time for your sales reps to figure out who those thrilled customers are so that they can improve that close ratio. The fourth step Scott took, and the final step, was to innovate. Using the information Scott gathered in the surveys, he knew what he did best, and now it was time for him to get even better. While most of Scott's competition was trying to figure out how they could increase their sales using the exact same method they used in a good economy, in a bad economy, Scott's company was figuring out how they could do even better at what they already did well. Any innovation that you make in your company is going to help you create more value and separate yourself from your competition even further. Innovation equals more customers and higher profits. Scott followed 4 simple steps. When he knew the economy was starting to go down, he didn't panic. He realized this was his opportunity to get better. Then he talked to his customers. He learned about his company through his customers' eyes. Then he increased his business by asking his customers to help him build his book of business. And finally, he innovated. He got better at doing what he was already good at doing. Is it a simple approach? Yes. Is it an effective approach? Absolutely. And you can use the exact same effective approach in your company. This is your opportunity to distinguish yourself from your competitors in your marketplace. This is your opportunity to not only survive in a down economy, this is your opportunity to thrive. Thank you.